11, along with the number 5 of Steve Webb. Taking a look at the 40-lap feature event for the Winston Bush late models. And that evening's fastest qualifier, Frank Kimmel, ARCA star, on the outside of Roland Isaacs, leads the field down for the start. But it was Kimmel who took over the lead. Chuck Winters battles along the outside of Roland Isaacs, with Bill Kimmel Jr. at 4th place. And rounding out the top 5, Ron Phillips in car number 39. Number 69 of Bill Kimmel Jr. comes up to 4th on the field. Ron Phillips rides 5th. The field's out of turn 4. Chuck Winters on the outside lane, but I believe he tried to get down to the inside if he could, as he is not making up much ground on that outside lane. Down into turns 3 and 4, Jim Bartley in 25, also on the outside. Frank Kimmel out front, and one car spinning down in turns 3 and 4. It was the number 23 of Jeff Johnson. He'll go one lap down to our race leaders as they move out of the 4th turn. Roland Isaacs holding on to that number 2 spot as Josh Clemens in car number 14 heads back to the pit area. The battle's at 3rd place right now as Bill Kimmel Jr. rides on the inside of Chuck Winters. They're side by side out of turn 4. Kimmel takes over 3rd. Winters will go 4th. Ron Phillips at 5th. Going 6th, it's Jim Bartley. 7th to Joe Williamson. Going 8th, David Clyde. 9th to Larry Metters, and rounding out the top 10, Joey Williamson. Josh Clemens at car number 14 is headed back to the pit area. 34 laps remaining. Frank Kimmel out front as he comes down the front straightaway. Half straightaway back to Roland Isaacs. Bill Kimmel Jr. going 3rd. Watching Joe Williamson now in car number 11, and Ron Phillips battle just outside the top 5 as they exit turn 4. Directly behind them, we have Larry Metters in the number 05 and David Clyde. They're side by side into turns 1 and 2. And once again, this battle is for the 8th and 9th place position as they head into turns 3 and 4. Around the outside of Ron Phillips, and Joe Williamson takes over the number 6 position. Now we have Bill Kimmel Jr. on the outside of Roland Isaacs out of turn 4, and Kimmel will take over 2nd. They're back into turns 1. Frank Kimmel in the number 68 paced the field in the early going, but then a great battle back at 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th as they roar down the front straightaway. Bill Kimmel Jr. in car number 69 gets around Roland Isaacs, and the number 8 of Chuck Winters runs at 4th. The number 23 of Jeff Johnson goes a lap down to the field, and there's Jim Bartley in 25 at 5th place. Joe Williamson Sr. in car number 11 in the number 6 position, followed by Ron Phillips. Winters goes 4th. Jim Bartley in the number 25, last year's Rookie of the Year, currently in the number 5 position after getting around Joe Williamson in car number 11. Williamson currently running at 6th place. He's gotten around Ron Phillips now, who runs 7th on the field. David Clyde goes 8th. Now Larry Metters pulls into the number 8 spot. Clyde to the number 9 spot, and Joey Williamson rounding out the top 10 in car number 53. He and Steve Webb have a great race going for 10th place. They're back into turns 1 and 2. .25 laps remaining now for Frank Kimmel in car number 68 as he pulls down the back straightaway. Brian Baum in car number 74 slows down and is headed back to the pit area. Steve Webb along the inside of David Clyde moving into turns 1 and 2. And again, this is the battle for 11th and 12th as they move down the back straightaway. And we have one car spun around down in turns 1 and 2. That's Jerry Lee, car number 02, as he pulls down to the inside apron of the 1st and 2nd turn just in front of the Winston suite. And it looks like we'll avoid a caution flag period for the moment. Frank Kimmel with the lead, almost a half straightaway advantage over the older brother, Bill Kimmel Jr. Chuck Winders now motoring past the inside of Gregg Carby. He'll bring Jim Bartley along with him as they move down the back straightaway. Looks like Jerry Lee now pulls back into the event at the halfway point. And it appears that Bill Kimmel Jr. at second place begins closing in on our race leader, Frank Kimmel, as they move out of turn number 4. And the advantage is less than half a straightaway. They're back into turns 1 and 2. Roland Isaacs in car number 4 continues to run along at third place as he moves along the inside of Jim Kirk. The number 8 of Chuck Winders and the number 25 of Jim Bartley, along with the number 11 of Joe Williamson running along at 6th place now. Move back into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, our race leader, Frank Kimmel, pulls to the outside of Robin Schildknecht on the front straightaway, attempting to put Schildknecht one lap down. They're back into turns 1 and 2. Pat Pierce directly ahead of our race leader, Kimmel, as they come out of turn number 4. Calvin Crane in car number 44 also there. And Frank Kimmel backs up a bit. Frank Kimmel eventually built up a huge advantage over the field, but then saw that advantage go away as he chases down Robin Schildknecht and the number 59 of Pat Pierce. Older brother Bill Kimmel Jr. is able to close in at second place, and they move bumper to bumper out of turn number 2. Still 14 laps remaining this time around, with Frank Kimmel having some difficulty getting around the lapped cars, and it has allowed Bill Kimmel Jr. to close in on him now. Very shortly, Roland Isaacs, Chuck Winders, Jim Bartley, and Joe Williamson will also close in on the race leaders. Later, Bill almost took the lead from Frank coming out of turn number 2 as they move in on the 42 of Robin Schildknecht. The two brothers' cars touch fenders there momentarily, and then Kimmel and Schildknecht get together coming out of turn number 4. They bang together again on the front straightaway. Bill Kimmel Jr. in 69, once at second place, is left hung out to dry on the outside as Roland Isaacs moves up along the inside. Eventually, Chuck Winders takes away third place. And Bill Kimmel Jr. is boxed in behind Robin Schildknecht going into turns 1 and 2 and has cost him as leads 3 positions now as Jim Bartley motors by on the inside. 10 laps to go, and it's Frank Kimmel out front. Roland Isaacs is closing in now. Chuck Winders runs third as they move down the back straightaway. Again, we look at the battle at fourth place. Bill Kimmel Jr. moves around the outside of Jim Bartley. Down the front straightaway, they're side by side for fourth, and they're back into turns 1 and 2. Joe Williamson in car number 11 is right there as well. And for the moment, Bill Kimmel Jr. has gained back one of the positions he's lost. He's currently in the number 4 position. 8 laps remaining. Frank Kimmel put in a spin at the end of the back straightaway. George Koch spins up onto the track there in the 3rd and 4th turn area. Roland Isaacs goes for the lead, but it looks like Frank Kimmel may have had the advantage along the outside as they come to the red flag. Red flag coming out for a spin down in turns 3 and 4, and it looks like we've got one car turned around over in the 2nd turn area, that of Calvin Crane. Green flag's back out. Bill Kimmel Jr. glides up the banking down in turns 1 and 2, gives up a couple of spots, and then jumps in line at 6th place. Down into turns 3 and 4, it's Frank Kimmel out front. Chuck Winders up along the inside of Roland Isaacs. They're down the front straightaway, and now Joe Williamson in car number 11 pulls around Jim Bartley. He'll take over 4th place on the backstretch. It's a side-by-side battle for second as they swing into turns 3 and 4, and Frank Kimmel's got a lot of daylight ahead of him. 6 to go, and the field is back into turns 1 and 2. Chuck Winders, after last night winning the Sportsman feature event, now finds himself running second in the Winston Bush late model feature. Roland Isaacs now at 3rd. Bill Kimmel Jr. coming back around the outside to run at 4th place, getting around Joe Williamson as they head back into turns 1 and 2. The battle will be for 3rd place over the final laps now as they move down the backstretch. Bill Kimmel Jr. coming to the outside of Roland Isaacs as they swing out of turn 4. Still side by side for 3rd, but it's Winders who holds on to 2nd. Frank Kimmel, the race leader. They're out at turn 4. 3 laps remaining, and Bill Kimmel Jr. takes over 3rd place, and now pulls to the outside of Chuck Winders. Moving out of turn number 4, and it's Kimmel to the outside of Chuck Winders battling for 2nd place as they move back into turns 1 and 2. They'll look for the white flag this time around, indicating 1 lap to go. Bill Jr. eventually fell back as far as 5th position on the field and then fought his way back up to battle with Chuck Winders for 2nd place on the final lap of the event. The number 68, sponsored by Right Way Industries, Ohio Valley Tire, Coyle Chevrolet, B&J Custom Carpentry, rolls out of turn number 4. Frank Kimmel gets the feature event victory. Chuck Winders across the line at 2nd, barely edging out Bill Kimmel Jr. Congratulations to ARCA Series star Frank Kimmel for his feature event victory in the Winston Busch late model feature event. But it was the 1990 late model champion, the former STP Prestone ARCA Rookie of the Year, the fellow that packed his bags a few years ago to go racing on the national circuit. Joining us here tonight, the car sponsored by Right Way Industries, Coyle Chevrolet, Ohio Valley Tire. And I know he wants to dedicate this race to the Stewart family. He'll take that 1994 Chevrolet Lumina to victory lane tonight. Let's hear it for Frank Kimmel.